My fiancé handed me a prenup saying, "Your house becomes ours, and my $60,000 debt becomes yours." I smiled and folded it back into his hand. He shouted, "Sign it or we're done." I said, "Being done sounds perfect." I walked away calmly, but that night, when he received the envelope from the lawyer he thought would defend him, he dropped to his knees after reading the first line. "I'm Lila. I'm 32, and until recently, I was engaged for about 4 months. We'd been dating for 2 years before he proposed. I met him at a friend's wedding, one of those classic rom-com scenarios where we ended up sitting at the same table. His name is Marcus. He was funny, charming, confident, and devastatingly handsome. We clicked immediately. Things moved fast after that. We moved in together after a year and got engaged last winter. I own my house outright. I bought it 6 years ago as a fixer-upper, spent weekends and late nights renovating it myself. It's not a mansion, but it's mine. 3 bedrooms, a nice yard, a quiet neighborhood. I paid off the mortgage 2 years ago after grinding through overtime and side projects. That house represents every sacrifice I made in my 20s. Skipped vacations, drove a beat-up car, ate ramen more nights than I care to admit. Marcus rented an apartment across town. He had about $60,000 in credit card debt from what he called his investment period, a failed online fitness brand, and some bad financial decisions in his mid-20s. I knew about the debt when we got engaged. He'd been upfront about it, said he was working on paying it down. I respected the honesty. 3 weeks ago, he brought up getting a prenup. I actually thought it was smart, protecting both our assets, going into marriage with everything clear. He said his brother recommended it, that it was just a formality to make sure we were both covered. I think that's a good idea, I told him. Let's each get our own lawyers. Do this right. Actually, he said, my brother's friend is a lawyer. She offered to draw something up for us. Save us some money. Red flag number 1, but I ignored it. I figured his brother's friend would be fair and professional. Last Tuesday, Marcus came over with the prenup. We were supposed to have a nice dinner and go over it together. He seemed nervous, kept fidgeting with his glass. "So, I've got the prenup," he said, sliding a folder across the table. I opened it and started reading. I got about 3 paragraphs in before my brain fully processed what I was seeing. The house, my house, the one I bought, renovated, and paid off, would become marital property immediately upon marriage. His debt, all 60 grand of it, would also become marital property, split 50-50 between us. I read it again, then a third time. "What the hell is this?" I asked. "It's the prenup. Just sign it and we're good to go. This says my house becomes ours, and your debt becomes ours. That's not how prenups work." He shrugged. Marriage is about sharing everything. "The lawyer said this is pretty standard." "Standard?" I laughed. "I paid for that house. I renovated it myself. You want me to just hand over half of it?" "It's not handing it over. We'll be married. What's yours is mine. What's mine is yours. Except your debt magically becomes our debt." "But my house also becomes our house." "You see how that's completely one-sided?" He crossed his arms. "I thought you loved me. I thought we were a team." "We are a team," I said, "but this prenup is garbage. I'm not signing this." His face went red. "My brother's friend spent hours on this. She knows what she's doing." "Then your brother's friend is either incompetent or actively trying to screw me over. I need my own lawyer to look at this." "We don't have time for that. The wedding is in 3 months." "Then we push the wedding back until we get a fair prenup. This isn't happening." He stood up and grabbed the folder. "You know what? Maybe we should just call off the wedding entirely if you're going to be like this." "Maybe we should." He stared at me like I'd just slapped him. "What?" "You heard me. If you think I'm signing away my house and taking on your debt just to prove I love you, then maybe we shouldn't get married." "You're being ridiculous." "I'm being realistic. This prenup is a joke, and you know it." He grabbed his jacket. "I'm leaving. Call me when you're ready to be reasonable." He slammed the door on his way out. I sat there staring at the prenup for another hour, reading every line. It got worse the more I looked. There were clauses about him being entitled to alimony if we divorced, about me covering his debts if he couldn't pay them, about the house being sold and the proceeds split equally, even though I'd be the only one who ever paid into it. This wasn't a prenup, it was a damn heist. Update 1. I didn't call him, I didn't text, I let him stew for 2 days. On Thursday, Marcus showed up at my house around 7 in the evening and let himself in with his key. Another thing I was starting to reconsider. "We need to talk," he said. "I agree. I've been thinking about what you said about the prenup." "Okay. And I still think you're wrong, but I'm willing to compromise." What kind of compromise? He pulled out his phone and showed me some notes he'd written. We can adjust it so the house stays in your name for the first 2 years of marriage. After that, it becomes joint property. Fair. How is that fair? I asked. It's my house. I paid for it. And I'm going to be your husband. I'll be living there, taking care of it. I deserve some ownership. You deserve ownership of something you didn't pay for? That's how marriage works. You share everything. Then why doesn't the prenup say your debt stays yours? He went quiet. That's what I thought, I said. You want me to share my assets with you, but you don't want to share your liabilities. You want me to take on your debt while you take half my house. That's not marriage. That's a con. How dare you? I dare because it's true. This whole prenup is designed to screw me over. He started crying. I can't believe you're being this selfish. I thought you were different. I'm not being selfish. I'm being smart. And honestly, the fact that you're pushing this so hard makes me wonder what else you're not telling me. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm getting my own lawyer. We're going to draft a fair prenup, one that protects both of us equally. If you can't agree to that, then maybe we shouldn't get married. He wiped his eyes. Fine. Get your lawyer. But if you don't sign something soon, I'm calling off the wedding. Do what you've got to do. He left again. This time I did call someone, a lawyer friend of mine who specializes in family law. I told her the whole situation and sent her pictures of the prenup. She called me back an hour later. Lila, this is insane, she said. Like, legitimately one of the most one-sided prenups I've ever seen. If you sign this, you'd be completely screwed in a divorce. That's what I thought. Does Marcus know how bad this is? He has to. His brother's friend drew it up. Then his brother's friend is either terrible at her job or actively trying to screw you. Either way, don't sign this. Let me draft something fair, something that actually protects both of you. How long will that take? I can have it done by next week. Do it. I texted my fiancé. My lawyer is drafting a fair prenup. Should be ready next week. We can review it together. He responded immediately. Your lawyer? I thought we were supposed to use my lawyer. Your lawyer wrote a prenup that only benefits you. We need something fair. This is you trying to control everything. I'm trying to protect myself. If that's a problem for you, then maybe we need to rethink this whole thing. He didn't respond after that. Update 2. The next day, Friday, Marcus started blowing up my phone. He called me 12 times between noon and 5. I was at work and couldn't answer. When I finally called him back that evening, he was livid. You've been ignoring me all day. I was working. What's going on? What's going on is you're trying to sabotage our wedding. How am I sabotaging anything? I'm getting a fair prenup drafted. That's literally the responsible thing to do. A fair prenup would be the one I already gave you. That prenup was garbage, and you know it. It was perfectly reasonable. It wasn't. And the fact that you keep defending it makes me think you know exactly how unfair it is. Silence. You know what? He finally said. I'm done playing games. You have until Sunday to sign the prenup I gave you. If you don't, we're done. Wedding's off. Everything's off. You're giving me an ultimatum. I'm giving you a choice. Sign it or lose you. I laughed. I couldn't help it. You're really going to end our relationship because I won't sign a prenup that steals my house and dumps your debt on me? It doesn't steal anything. It's called marriage. No, it's called fraud, and I'm not doing it. Then we're done. Being done sounds perfect, I said calmly. Click. He hung up. I sat there for a minute, processing what had just happened. Part of me was pissed. Part of me was relieved. Mostly, I was just tired. I called my lawyer friend. He just gave me an ultimatum. Sign his prenup by Sunday, or he's calling off the wedding. So he's calling off the wedding then. Looks like it. Lila, I hate to say it, but you're dodging a bullet. Anyone who'd give you an ultimatum like that over a fair prenup isn't someone you want to marry. Yeah, I'm starting to realize that. Let me ask you something. Did you ever really look into his finances? Not really. Why? Because 60 grand in credit card debt from a failed business doesn't add up. I've seen cases like this before. Usually there's more to the story. Like what? Like a shopping addiction, gambling, or financially supporting someone else. That hit me weird. I had never thought to question his story. He always said the debt came from his fitness brand, from equipment, marketing, website costs. But now that she mentioned it, 60 grand seemed like a lot for a small online operation. Update 3. Saturday morning, I did some digging. I started with social media, looked at Marcus's old posts from when he was supposedly running his business. I found pictures of branded apparel and gym setups, sure, but also tons of photos of him at clubs, high-end restaurants, designer sneakers, posts about trips to Vegas, Miami, and Cabo. None of that matched the story of someone drowning in business debt. I checked tagged photos and found a bunch from 3 years ago, right around when he said the business was failing. He was at some woman's birthday party. Expensive venue, everyone dressed to the nines. The caption on one photo said, "Best girlfriend ever. Thanks for everything, babe." Girlfriend? Marcus told me he'd been single for 2 years before we met. I kept digging, found her profile, scrolled through her posts. There they were together. Couple photos, vacation pictures, matching outfits, the whole thing. Their relationship ended about 6 months before he and I met. Then I found her last few posts about him. He maxed out my credit cards. I paid for everything and he left me broke. Learn from my mistakes. Don't let someone use you for your wallet. My stomach dropped. I went through Marcus's debt timeline again. Most of it accumulated during the time he was with her. After they broke up, the charges slowed way down. The debt wasn't from a business. It was from living off someone else's money. I texted my lawyer friend. Found something. He lied about where the debt came from. She called me immediately. What do you mean? I explained what I'd found. She whistled softly. He's running a pattern. He did it to his ex. Now he's trying to do it to you. That prenup wasn't about marriage. It was about locking you into his debt legally. Holy shit! And I'd bet if you look at your shared finances since he moved in, you'll find he's been spending your money too. I hadn't thought about that, but once she said it, it clicked. Groceries were more expensive. Utilities were higher. He borrowed money for gas, for bills, for random expenses. Always said he'd pay me back. He never did. What do I do? I asked. Nothing. You already broke up with him. Now you just make sure he can't come back. I'm going to draft a letter outlining everything you found. The fraudulent prenup, the lies, all of it. When he tries to contact you again, and he will, you send him that letter. You think he'll come back? Oh, absolutely. Once he realizes you're serious, he'll try to manipulate you. They always do. She was right. Update 4. Sunday evening. Marcus showed up at my house and banged on the door for 5 minutes straight. I didn't answer. I know you're in there, he yelled. Open the door. I watched through the window as he paced on my porch, phone in hand. My phone buzzed. Open the door, or I'm calling the cops and telling them you won't give me my stuff. His stuff. He had maybe 2 outfits and a toothbrush at my place. I texted back. Your things are in a bag on the porch. Take them and leave. I'd packed everything he'd ever left at my house that morning and put it in a trash bag by the door. He grabbed the bag, looked inside, then started pounding again. This isn't all my stuff. Where's my watch? He'd never left a watch here. You never left a watch here. You have everything. Leave. I'm not leaving until we talk. Then I'm calling the cops for trespassing. That did it. He stood there another minute, then got in his car and drove off. An hour later, my phone rang. His brother. You need to stop being such a jerk to him, he said immediately. I'm not being a jerk. I'm ending a relationship that wasn't working. Because you're too selfish to sign a prenup. The prenup was designed to steal my house and saddle me with his debt. If you don't see the problem with that, you're part of the problem. He deserves security. He was giving up nothing to marry me. I'm the one with assets to lose. This is exactly why he needed the prenup, to protect himself from women like you. Women like me? I said. You mean women who work hard, own property, and don't want to be financially exploited? You're twisting everything. No, I'm seeing everything clearly for the first time. Your brother lied about his debt. It didn't come from a business. It came from using his last girlfriend, and now he was trying to do the same thing to me. Silence. You helped him write that prenup, I said. You knew exactly what it was designed to do. You're paranoid. I'm informed. There's a difference. Don't contact me again. We're done. I hung up. That night, my lawyer friend sent over the letter. It was perfect. Detailed the fraudulent prenup, the lies about the debt, the pattern of financial exploitation. It ended with a clear statement that any further contact would be considered harassment and pursued legally. I printed it and had it delivered Monday morning. I paid extra for confirmation of delivery. Around noon, I got the notification that he'd signed for it. My phone rang at 12:47 p.m. Marcus was sobbing. How could you send me that letter? How could you try to steal my house? I countered. I wasn't stealing anything. I love you. You love my assets. There's a difference. That's not true. Then explain the debt. Explain why you lied about where it came from. Explain the prenup that only benefited you. Silence. That's what I thought, I said. Don't contact me again. Wait. I hung up. I blocked his number. Blocked him on every social media platform. Blocked his brother, his friends, everyone I could think of. My lawyer friend called an hour later. You're not going to believe this. What? He called my office, asked if he could explain his side, wanted to know if there was any way to fix this. What did you tell him? That I don't represent him. I represent you. And that he needs to stop contacting anyone associated with you or will pursue harassment charges. Did he back off? For now. But if I had to guess, he's not done yet. She was wrong. He was done, or at least he gave up. It's been 6 weeks now. I haven't heard from him since that last phone call. Mutual friends tell me he moved out of state, staying with family somewhere. His social media is gone, either deactivated or deleted. Hard to tell. I changed my locks just in case he'd made copies of the key, installed a Ring doorbell, upgraded my home security system. Maybe overkill, but better safe than sorry. Last week, I ran into his ex, the woman he'd used before me. Totally random. We were both at the same hardware store. I recognized her from the photos. Hey, I said, walking up. I know this is weird, but I think we dated the same guy. She looked at me, and recognition hit her face. Oh, you're the woman he got engaged to. Was engaged to, I said. Not anymore. Good. He tried to get you to take on his debt, didn't he? She laughed without humor. Yep. Wanted me to co-sign loans, refinance my car, put business expenses on my credit cards. By the time I realized what was happening, he'd maxed out 3 of them. How did you get out? I kicked him out, changed my locks, and filed a police report for credit card fraud. He disappeared before it went anywhere, but at least I had documentation. I'm sorry, I said. Don't be, she replied. I learned my lesson. Sounds like I did too. We talked for a few more minutes and exchanged numbers. She said if I ever needed anything, proof of his pattern, a statement, whatever, she'd help. Good woman. I'm doing all right now. Better than all right, honestly. The house feels like mine again. I'm dating casually, nothing serious. Taking my time, being more careful about who I let into my life. Someone asked me last week if I regretted getting engaged to him. Honestly, no. I regret not seeing the red flags sooner, but I don't regret trying. Sometimes you have to learn the hard way what you won't tolerate. I'm 32, single, debt-free, and living in a house I own outright. Could be worse.